In the darkness, monsters grow and fester. Be they monsters of the mind or of the body, away from the light they find their shelter. They grow unchecked and might eventually take over your soul if left to roam free. But luckily, we can shine a light on them and make them disappear. For a moment, that's the main mechanic of Tequila Works' latest game. Let's take a look. GYLT can be described as a classic third-person narrative action-adventure with a horror vibe. It's a small-stakes adventure that is closer in scope to Little Nightmares than its long-lost sibling Alan Wake. Previously available as a Google Stadia exclusive, what a sad fate, it has now been ported to all kinds of different platforms and consoles. The main mechanic is the classic shining light on monsters to make them disappear. But this time, the narrative is different, since we play as a little girl called Sally, roaming the small town of Bethelwood looking for her friend Emily. Naturally, things are not as they seem, as the town will soon turns evil and monsters start pouring out of the crack. The story is told chiefly through books that you find laying around and via cutscenes. In these, the art style changes suddenly, going from classic comic book 3D look to a more anime-influenced one. The change is quite jarring, and many times the cutscenes are a way just to introduce enemies or characters, and it takes away some of the thrill of seeing them for the first time. Your main weapon is the classic flashlight, as might be expected. Be that of a focus beam to dispose of enemies or a sudden flash to stun them, the mechanic might be familiar to most players. While staying clear of enemies, you have to solve puzzles of different kinds, such as connecting fuses or stopping the leaking gas, to more classic finding keys and opening doors type puzzles. Clearly, our alternative to fighting is sneaking around. This mostly works as it should, even though there are some weird design choices. For example, you can't use the stealth kill if the enemies are alerted, and also they seem to have a wide range of alertness, with some not being alerted even though I was right in front of them killing their companions. Health can be gained back through inhalers, and GYLT is quite generous with them, along with batteries for your flashlight. The overall art style is quite well done, with enemies that are a perfect balance of scary and disgusting, especially the eye tentacles, which are more of an obstacle than the enemy. They're quite disturbing if you encounter them looking right at you around a corner. The urban locations are nothing special, though, from school to library to arcade, it's your standard fare. Sally will face enemies constantly looking at her, looking for her, or even others that insult her, muttering under their breath. Indeed, the overall theme that GYLT follows is that of bullying, and Sally herself has been bullied for her entire life in school, and there are references splattered everywhere to her terrible experience. Now, she has a chance to fight back, and it's indeed quite satisfying to hear her scream, "Leave me alone!" as she stealth kills an enemy. Graphically, the game also looks quite solid with a stable frame rate and added HDR support from the previous Google Stadia release. It looks pretty great on a powerful machine too. The game clocks in at around 5 or 6 hours and offers some form of replayability through multiple endings and collectibles to be found if that's your sort of thing. The difficulty balance overall feels right and definitely is geared towards a younger audience with many checkpoints, plenty of health pickups and easy boss fights. Overall, GYLT is the perfect little horror adventure, especially for a younger audience. Played together with a young kid, the age of Sally, this might be a great family experience for sure. But even for more mature audiences, GYLT offers a solid trip through the sleepy town of Bethelwood while satisfyingly disposing of bullies lurking in the dark. Let your bright light shine on Sally. Voxel Smash gives GYLT 8.5 out of 10. It's a solid little horror action adventure, perfect for the whole family for a scary night at home.